Komodo National Park Part 2. If you saw Part 1, you saw Strawberry Rock, Rinka Island, giant fruit bats, Keller Island, and much more. So you might wonder, what's left? Well, on Part 2, we're going to show you what's left. And of course, one of the things you may not think about when you think of Komodo National Park is that it's also a marine park. And snorkeling and scuba diving is very popular. And while we didn't go scuba diving, the snorkeling opportunities are spectacular. The coral formations, the fish, the blue starfish, everything. Just spectacular. Also in Part 2, we actually make it to the namesake island, Komodo Island, and you'll see plenty more Komodo dragons. We'll also visit Kalong Island. We'll go to a sandbar just out in the middle of the ocean. I forget the name, but it's a popular stop if you do any of the tours of Komodo National Park. And one spectacular thing I'll save for later. But here we head to that before mentioned sandbar. We jump off our boat onto the little boat, and Kelly stayed back because he was worn out by this time and wasn't too excited about going to a sandbar. I thought it was connected to another island and there might be some exploring. On a little sandbar here, out in the middle of the ocean. Cool. You can see that it's a popular place. Lots of boats parked around the sandbar. But I'm going to walk the whole thing so you can see it. One of the popular things, it seemed like the young girls doing their Instagram photos, is you could find a little area by the beach and lay there, just soak up the sun, or take your photos, and you could make it look like you were the only one on the island. But as you can see, that's just not the case. The other thing that I didn't think too much about, but that Joseph mentioned to me later, is that it's a pink sand beach. So look at that sand. It does have kind of a pink coloration to it. I was wearing a long sleeve shirt to protect myself from the sun, but as you can see, most of the other people were wearing a little bit less, and well, their goal was to actually soak up some of the sun. So it just depends what your goals are when you go there, what you want to do. And most of the people spent a lot more time there than I did. We basically walked the length of the island, went from one end to the other, and that was pretty much enough for me. And then it was back in the boat. We'd taken our pictures, we'd seen the pink sand, seen the beautiful ocean, and then it would be on to the next activity. But a cool little stop. That's it from a distance. That's Kelly's room. That's my room. I had a little bunk bed and put my suitcase on one side, or one bunk, and slept on the top. But just spectacular being in the boat, seeing the different islands as you sail by onto your next destination. Everything just spectacular. Pater Island is our next destination. And it was cool to see the deer just on the beach. Yep, that's Komodo dragon food. But we went there to hike to the top of the island. Pater Island is one of the 3 largest islands in Komodo National Park. along with 26 other islands. There are said to be Komodo dragons on the island, though we didn't see any. But as you can see, as we hike and get higher, you can see from one side of the island to the next. This spectacular greenery and yellow flowers just made for a beautiful setting. Stairway going up to the top. Black sand beach on one side, white sand beach on the other side. And if you can say a third side, that's kind of a pink sand beach. So there's 3 color beaches. But it does have kind of a prehistoric setting. All the jagged rocks and beautiful ocean scenery. And of course, it was a tough climb up all those stairs, so I have to stop quite often and take pictures. It's always a good excuse to stop and rest. Beautiful picture opportunity. I think I'll stop here. But this is a view from my 360 camera as I'm up near the top there, looking out over the island. Of course, we weren't the only ones there. There were a few other people as well. And yep, there's Kelly. Time for him to walk down so I can get a good photo of him up there. Why he's not wearing his hat, I'm not sure. Maybe just taking it off. But just a great spot for a photo.
Muchachos, vámonos a la playa. Mi corazón es de ti, jambalaya. Yo quisiera juntar a tu lado. Oh, there's some deer.
2 deer.
360, come on.
360, come on.
Look at the green island. This is one of the highlights of Komodo National Park. Beautiful. Look at such a stunning view. Imagine this green color.
Yeah, Kelly likes to sing sometimes when he's hiking, and sometimes he gets on to making up his own rap songs
In
even.
the dry season. Look at the view. It forms like dead creatures.
Why he sang in Spanish, I'm not quite sure.
A rap song.
Yeah. Island girl. Go ahead.
I want to make you my pearl.
He has no clue how the song goes.
Okay, now it's gonna be rap. Island girl. I really want to make you my pearl. What's wrong with us? And Jerry's dying to do it. You know he wants to rap a little bit.
He can.
I do not want to rap.
I am hearing ring up.
Here's this little deer here. Yeah, there you are. I'm not a Komodo dragon, you're safe. It was a spectacular hike with spectacular views. And the music, well, Kelly needs to work on his rap song a little bit more. We're back on the boat, heading for Komodo.
The beautiful lights are the ones.
We're at the Komodo Islands. Not the wild nature place it once was. Wabali was mainly Hindu and Flores mainly Catholic. Komodo Islands basically Muslim. So we got that mosque there. There's actually a couple more. And through the night, in the morning, during prayer time, those loudspeakers were going.
We are on the Komodo Islands.
After our breakfast, after a good night's sleep,
Hello, Jerry.
and now we're ready to explore Komodo Islands. You see, there's a lot of people that live here. Komodo Islands have about 1,800 residents.
Hello. Assalamualaikum.
I believe there are 3 main villages you can go to, and we went to this one and one other one. The houses are built on stilts. People have learned to live with the dragons. Once we start to get out of the village, we see our first Komodo dragon. Komodo dragons can be attracted to the village from the smell of cooking food, and they'll even eat some of the goats and chickens that the people have in the village. During a 38-year period ending in 2012, there were 24 reported attacks on humans by Komodo dragons that resulted in 5 fatalities. The last death I could see was an 8-year-old boy back in 2007. But you can see the people walking right by all these dragons that live, well, right by the stream next to the village.
That's what he said.
Yeah, everyone just mellow out and get along.
Just a spectacular sight. 5 Komodo dragons right there. And there were actually several more down the riverbed.
Another one. So,
Oh yeah.
up there, under the tree. Oh, very mini. Big.
Spectacular.
Komodo dragons are actually venomous. Their saliva contains toxins that prevent blood from clotting, resulting in severe blood loss in their prey. There's one we see a little further downstream, just soaking in the water. And as you take a look at it soaking, let's see what's a little further downstream.
Chillaxin. This is a video. There's a Komodo dragon right behind him.
Yeah.
There's Joseph.
Hey.
And there's some kids doing their wash just down from the Komodo dragon. And here's our guide. What's your name?
Hello, my name is Andy.
There it is.
Yeah, the people have learned to coexist and have lived on the island of the dragons for hundreds of years. Giant venomous lizard. Their venom not only prevents blood from clotting, resulting in severe blood loss, it also induces a severe drop in blood pressure, resulting in shock to the victim or its prey, making it too weak to escape. The people we pass and encounter are all friendly and outgoing. Seem happy to have us there, except maybe one boy.
Hi!
Say hello.
How are you?
One of the advantages and benefits of traveling the world is just seeing different cultures, how they live, how they do things. May be routine to them, but it's unique and different.
Goodbye to Komodo.
Goodbye, Komodo.
Traveling helps us realize how blessed we are and not take for granted all the things we have in our own lives. But now we head out snorkeling, looking for giant manta rays. And that's Kelly, and yes, we found them. I give it a thumbs up. The videos really don't do these justice. These magnificent creatures just swimming, gliding through the water. The Komodo Islands are known for the manta rays, and it's a popular tourist activity. These reef manta rays are actually one of the largest fish in the ocean, with a wingspan that averages 10 to 16 feet across. Just a spectacular sight to see. Komodo is one of the largest manta ray hotspots in Indonesia, with over 1,000 specimens identified. I read that the dry season is the best time of year to find mantas in Komodo. However, on my visit 12 years ago during the dry season, we didn't see any. And on this trip, at the end of the wet season, we not only saw these 4 or 5, but a number of other specimens. The mantas will sometimes congregate in areas that they refer to as cleaning stations, where the mantas come to be cleaned by the smaller fish. In some of the video, you can actually see all the little fish swimming with them. There are only 2 species of mantas, these reef mantas and giant mantas. Well, the reef manta's wingspan is about 15 feet. The giant mantas have a wingspan of 23 feet. But either species is just spectacular to see. I was thrilled, since I missed them last time, that I got to see so many of them this time. It was somewhat intimidating when one of these giant fish would swim up towards you. That long tail, one thing that I wasn't aware of is that they're harmless to humans. Unlike stingrays, they don't have the venomous barb or stinger at the end of their tail. For defense, they just rely on their size, and they'll swim away from danger. It might have been helpful, or at least given me a higher level of comfort, if I would have realized this before I went in the water swimming with them. Manta rays are filter feeders and basically feed on plankton and small fish. But what an experience. And now we've come to another area of Komodo Island, where we can go again searching for the giant venomous lizards. You'll see there's several different hikes we can go on, and each one has a different cost associated with it. All our costs were covered as part of our tour package. And what have we here on the trail?
Yeah.
Giant lizard coming towards us.
Step back. Step back, my guys.
most beautiful and handsome.
Most beautiful and handsome.
And everybody, get over here.
On by, down the
Bye
trail.
bye.
Da-da.
Bye, young lady.
Da-da.
No.
We just moved to the side of the trail and he casually walked by us. If you heard the dada, that's goodbye in Indonesian. Now we get to another spot. I recall this same man-made watering hole from the trip I made here back in 2012. At that time, there were probably a half dozen Komodo dragons around that watering hole. And this time there's only one. We took our picture with it, and you never know. Could be that same one I saw 12 years ago. Komodo dragons have a lifespan of about 30 years. So who knows? Maybe this is a friend from the past. And speaking of the past, did you know Komodo dragons were first described in 1912? Of course, a lot wasn't known about them back then, and travel to the West Indies to get to Komodo was difficult. And it wasn't until 1926 when there was an expedition led from the United States to capture the first Komodo dragon. William Burton, a trustee for the American Museum of Natural History, set out on an expedition in 1926 to film the Komodo dragon and hoped to bring one back to New York, to the United States, for the first time. If this tale sounds somewhat familiar, of a story of an adventure to some remote island to bring some giant mythical creature back to the city of New York, well, that's because it's the story of King Kong. Marion Cooper, a friend of Mr. Burton's, was the screenwriter. And it's said that Mr. Burton's tale of his adventures to collect the Komodo dragon are one of the things that inspired Mr. Cooper to write the movie King Kong. The movie King Kong came out just 7 years after Mr. Burton's trip to the Komodo Islands. In 1933, King Kong, starring Fay Wray, was released. It's said that Mr. Cooper initially wanted to get an ape to battle a Komodo dragon, but with the Depression in full swing, wasn't able to find funding. But perhaps that's why the Komodo dragon became a giant ape in the movie King Kong. There are a lot of similarities between the movie King Kong and Mr. Burton's original adventure. Travel to a remote island, bringing back a giant creature to New York. Even having a woman along. Mr. Burton's wife accompanied on his adventure to collect the first Komodo dragon. And even Kong being spelled with a K is in Komodo.
So how old do you think this one is?
It's still months, I think.
2 months?
More or less. 2 or 3. So.
I would have guessed this was at least a yearling, but
This one's
Park
still
Ranger
living.
claimed it's only 2 to 3 months old. A spectacular find, juvenile Komodo dragon. Just a magnificent sight, watching the dragon as it walks along the beach. the waves gently rolling in. What an experience. I had really wanted to see a Komodo dragon on the beach, on the shore. So I felt very fortunate to get this opportunity to see not only a baby, but large adults along the shore of the ocean. Got lots of pictures with the Komodo dragons. This next picture has a forced perspective, making the dragon appear much larger than it is, and it appeared like I was petting it, but I actually was at least 15 feet behind the dragon. And here's one of their feet. Look at those claws. Just another trip of a lifetime. I've told Kelly that I must have lived at least a dozen lives, because I've had that many trips of a lifetime. Probably not fair that one person could have so many adventures, but I feel blessed and fortunate and appreciate every moment, even the rough ones, which anytime you travel, there's always some rough points. But the souvenir shop, bought a little manta ray from that lady, and that's pretty much the only souvenir I bought. I talked a bit about the movie King Kong. Did you know that 1933 version of the movie was re-released in the 1950s? But due to changing movie standards, many of the scenes were cut and deleted as they were too gruesome, too severe to show in the 1950s. The movie was a giant hit in 1933 when it was originally released. People had never seen some of the special effects and the story and everything. People would line up and see it and then line up and see it again. I can understand. Just an opportunity and a sense of adventure that most of the people back in 1933 would never have, to travel to such a destination. And for that matter, most of the people today never have that opportunity. So again, I feel fortunate to experience all of this. And I hope that you've enjoyed this video and our little adventure to Komodo and some of the stories. You never know if I'll ever have a chance to return again. And while we did have one last chance to go snorkeling, this was actually from a prior snorkeling that we did near Komodo, because after we had hiked through the island and seen Komodo dragons, we were heading back to catch our flight. And quite honestly, we didn't want to have wet clothes to pack. So I think Kelly and I both kind of regret that we didn't take advantage of our last opportunity to snorkel, because it is just spectacular. And like everything, you never know what you might find or what you might see. I was going to end the video, but I realized I have just a ton of photos and videos from snorkeling that I've never shown. And what was that little creature? Was it a sea snake, an eel, some type of fish? Here's a video with it. I just don't know what it is. But interesting find. And I'll also mention that's how I snorkel, with my hat, my shirt, protect me from the sun. But just spectacular scenery, a whole world of its own under the water. I have so much video, a lot of it that I haven't even downloaded or looked at yet, that I can't begin to show everything that I took. But hopefully this gives you a feel for snorkeling, for visiting Komodo National Park, and all the spectacular things we saw and got to do. Who knows, maybe I'll do a separate snorkeling video, but probably not. But that's it for our adventure to Komodo National Park. Take care and have a great day.